open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday to Fridays, and weekdays from 7 to 1 p.m. On my first visit to Princes during the election campaign, I came into contact with the Maziko family who suffered from an extreme health crisis. The family lived in a small two-room shack without water supply. The oldest daughter contracted tuberculosis and suffered from at least 2 fits per day. During my interaction with the residents in the community, a number of people told me of family members, neighbors, and friends who had contracted respiratory diseases. The residents of Princes, like the Maziko family, are forever etched in my heart, and they should never have to suffer such indignity and deprivation of basic rights. Ladies and gentlemen, I dedicated the launch of the pilot project in Princes to the Maziko family. I'm equally delighted to stand here today, inform you that the project has been a resounding success. From November 2016 through to February 2017, in just 3 months, a total of 10,791 patients visited the Princes Clinic. As a reflection on the need for the extended operating hours, almost 3,000 of those patients were seen during extended hours, 30%. We have experienced a few emergency cases since the extension of operating hours at Princes Clinic. Patients' lives were saved in 2 specific cases. A 3-year-old boy was rushed to the clinic due to shortness of breath and diagnosed with pneumonia. He is alive and well today. A pregnant woman in labor arrived at the clinic and received emergency care before being rushed to hospital. Both mother and child are well today. Given the success of the project, we have allocated 4.3 million rands in our adjustment budget to extend operating hours of additional 5 clinics. Effective from 1st of April 2017, the city has rolled out extended operating hours at the following clinics: Freedom Park, Hesekensi, Randburg, Zandspruit, and Albert Street in the inner city. These clinics are now open from 7 to 10 p.m. on weekdays and from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on weekdays and public holidays. Through this adjustment budget, we have also set ourselves the task of improving the infrastructure of some of our clinics. This process also includes an increase afforded to Langlaagte Pharmacy Distribution Facility to improve the efficiencies of the distribution of medicine to all our clinics. These important developments will go a long way in ensuring that our residents have access to quality healthcare without compromising their livelihoods. It also gives me great joy to announce that we will be allocating funding in our 2017-18 budget to extend operating hours to even more clinics across our city. This project has the potential to transform access to healthcare in Johannesburg, especially to our poorest residents. A proper functioning healthcare system is vital to achieving our economic growth target, because a healthy city is a working city. The final element of our 10-point plan is to revitalize the inner city of Johannesburg and bring people and businesses back into the heart of our city. Over the years, the Johannesburg inner city has suffered from gross neglect, with crime, drugs, and filth becoming commonplace. This has resulted in the flight of capital to areas such as Sandton, Rosebank, and Midrand. Historic buildings have been abandoned or hijacked. Debt has piled up and crime has spiraled almost out of control. This can largely be attributed to a lack of political will to address this in our inner city. The revitalization of our inner city is pivotal in our quest to unleash Johannesburg's economic potential and realize our target of a 5% economic growth by 2021. Our vision for the inner city is to make it the inclusive, modern, and diverse heartbeat of Johannesburg. It truly has the potential to become a model for a modern post-apartheid South African city. Let me make one thing clear. It is the poor that have suffered the most as a result of the inner city's decay. I was stirred to action after reading a publication called Kids Chronicle, which included a message addressed to me. A grade 6 learner wrote, and I quote, "The inner city has got deep secrets. It stinks in there because toilets are not clean, there are mice and rats, and there are sometimes dead bodies," end quote. Most concerning was a learned exposure to people who are, quote, "inject themselves with drugs every morning when I go to school," end quote. No one, and especially our youth, should be exposed to such trauma. It is an utter disgrace that this has continued unabated for so long. We are making substantial progress in our quest to develop a plan for the inner city's renewal. We are close to completing our analysis of all cities-owned buildings with the intention of converting them into affordable, low-cost housing for our residents to accommodate workers closer to their places of work. These buildings will be converted into affordable commercial spaces for the benefit of small businesses and entrepreneurs. As mentioned earlier, we allocated 290 million rands to JOSCO in our adjustment budget. This money will be used to purchase buildings in the inner city that will be refurbished and converted into low-cost rental stock that will house over 1,000 families. For too long, parts of Johannesburg, particularly the inner city, have been associated with crime. I'm committed to ensuring that this becomes a thing of the past. We allocated an additional 49 million rands to pick it up in a bid to clean up our inner city. This is through an additional cleaning shift in the inner city and within our informal settlements as well. Since entering office, we have doubled the cleaning shift of pick it up in the inner city, including a night shift to serve the businesses operating at night. Crime is another major problem plaguing our inner city, which must be addressed, and we are going to make it a safe place for our people to live, work, and play. The latest official crime stats released last year revealed that the inner city is the most dangerous area in Johannesburg. The Department of Public Safety and JMPD have already launched a plan which has seen the enforcement of bylaws and visible policing dramatically increased in the inner city. When we entered office, I was shocked to find out that the JMPD was operating with an average shortage of 1,500 officers. I was baffled that this was allowed to take place in the face of rampant crime that was destroying many of our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, in our adjustment budget, we allocated 31 million rands to JMPD for the recruitment and training of an additional 1,500 JMPD officers. The recruitment process is currently underway, and prospective candidates have until tomorrow to submit their applications. I encourage men and women of the highest integrity and with a passion to serve their communities to come forward and apply. I believe this to be a major breakthrough in the city's efforts to combat crime, enforce bylaws, and manage traffic congestions. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot shut out the drug problem by ignoring it. We need to decisively tackle it head on. During the election campaign, I promised the residents of Johannesburg, if elected mayor, I would create a specialized drug unit within the JMPD. On the 21st of November 2016, I delivered on that promise to our residents when I declare war on drug lords as we relaunch the new K9 narcotics unit. I'm exceptionally proud of the work which has been done by the city's K9 narcotics unit. To date, the unit's track record in drug-related crime busting has yielded much success. The unit's greatest success thus far was the drug bust in Glen Vista, in which cat and tick, as well as drug manufacturing chemicals worth a combined 9.5 million rands were captured. The suspects arrested in this raid were believed to be the source of hundreds of drug dealers across Johannesburg, and the arrest marked a major breakthrough in an effort to rid our city of drugs. In total, this unit has affected 597 arrests and recovered 100 kilograms of drugs, 463 stolen or hijacked vehicles, over 1,000 stolen properties, and 52 firearms. I want to express my deepest appreciation to this unit for their high level of professionalism and, most importantly, the integrity and commitment they continue to show on a daily basis. They are real heroes of our city. Ladies and gentlemen, traffic congestion and downed traffic lights is another frustration our residents suffer on a daily basis. To assist in addressing this, the issue of traffic light failure in our city, we have established a specialized JMPD unit. This unit operates as a rapid response team to down traffic lights in order to provide relief to our residents, while the broader issue of traffic lights repair is being addressed. This unit is now staffed with over 600 of our members. We have also announced our no-joint policy in respect of traffic lights. Until recently, the city has addressed issues of down traffic lights by simply joining cables in the event of an electrical fault. Each joint in the cabling of a traffic light is an electrical weakness in the circuit that makes it vulnerable to rain, electrical surges, and lightning. We have allocated 6 million rands to replace cabling in traffic light intersection to initiate the no-joint policy, which will be expanded upon in the 2017-2018 budget. In our effort to achieve the rule of law in our city, we have taken a decision to bring back dedicated municipal courts through a funding arrangement with the Department of Justice. This will serve to ensure that bylaw infringers are dealt with speedily so that consequences are short for anyone who breaches our laws. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at all these developments in line with our 10-point plan, it is without doubt that day by day, step by step, we are beginning to make real and lasting progress in the City of Johannesburg. However, beyond what we have already achieved, it is important that our residents know where we are and where we are going as an administration. To meet our challenges, we are carving out a new strategy for the City of Johannesburg. The strategy aims to prioritize our residents' most pressing needs. It is a plan that no longer places the poor on the fringes of society, but one that places them at the heart of our agenda. It is a plan that gives the city's forgotten people a voice that resonates throughout the whole of this government. Much of this will be fully expressed in the upcoming 2017-2018 budget. That will be announced later this month. Over the past month, both the proposed 2017-18 budget and the integrated development plan were open to extensive public comment and consultation. When we tabled the draft budget in March 2017, I made the point of saying that our IDP and budget required the input of communities to be completed in the image and the change they have demanded. Despite premeditated attempts to disrupt these meetings, we successfully held 31 cluster conversations and 8 regional IDP sessions. And I'd like to thank all of you who participated. This process of public consultations has been invaluable, ensuring that the budget and IDP truly reflects the change our communities have demanded of us. Underpinning this administration at its heart are 5 pillars which will be the bedrock on which change is going to be delivered to our residents. Thank you. The first of these 5 pillars is to grow the economy and create jobs for our people. We see economic growth, which creates jobs, as the central enabler for realizing opportunities for all. It is a irrefutable truth that people with the means improve their circumstances more effectively than any government has ever proven capable of doing, because people with the dignity of work reduces the pressure on housing backlogs, clinics, and free basic services, allowing the city to focus more resources on a small number of people. In the coming months, we will be unveiling the economic policy of our administration that will take the city to 5% economic growth by 2021. It will be aimed at driving down our crippling unemployment rate. This is our pledge to the 860 unemployed people of our city. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce that we will be adopting an approach to insourcing some of the identified services consumed by the city. I would like to give my appreciation and a deep appreciation to members of the EFF who have worked closely with this administration on this matter. So, colleagues from the EFF, thank you so very much for working with us to identify issues affecting our people. From the 1st of January 2018, we will initiate the insources of security services in the City of Johannesburg. Currently, the City of Johannesburg spends 360 million rands on security services. It produces a situation where the city is effectively paying 16,000 rands per security guard, and yet each individual guard is earning in the region of only 4,000 rands per month. As a city, we are kept safe by these guards. It is time that we return the favor and provide them with the security of a permanent employment and a better pay. We will also be looking at contracted services of catering and cleaning and determining how we can follow a similar model of insourcing. The second pillar is to enhance quality of life by improving services and taking care of the environment. We want our residents to live in a well-run city where they do not have to worry about potholes, broken street lights, and crumbling infrastructure. Therefore, a cornerstone of our development plan is to ensure that improved access to quality and affordable basic services, safe roads, and well-maintained public spaces. The preservation and protection of the natural environment for the health and well-being of our current and future generation is also a vital component of this pillar. One of the key interventions is the reintegration of city entities. Johannesburg has operated under a complicated and cumbersome model of service delivery from independent city entities operating under boards of directors. The only winner in this arrangement has been bureaucracy. The losers of this arrangement has been the residents of our city. When the city entities are reintegrated, their personnel will be regionalized so that frontline service delivery capacity is located in the 7 regions of our city. This kind of capacity does not belong in any ivory tower. It belongs close to where the people are and where the service delivery issues are impacting our people. The third pillar is to advance a pro-poor development that provides meaningful redress. The residents of Johannesburg still live with the legacy of our country's past, visible in an uneven development of different communities that make up our city. This necessitates government to recognize that the painful legacy of our past continues in our communities that they lived and they experience on a daily basis. It has rendered too many people vulnerable as outsiders looking in at the economy. At the same time, efforts at redress must focus on, among other imperatives, creating more inclusivity. Inclusive communities embrace and welcomes diversity, and the city must do more to ensure that space is provided where all members of the public can come together. In this regard, the key directive in our budget process has been to ensure that a minimum of 60% of capital expenditure must be spent in poor communities. It must drive the delivery of services, infrastructure investment, and efficiency of transport for the benefit of the most vulnerable in our city. Our approach for housing is going to see a shift in direction. I have long adopted the view that the city's historical approach of building 2,500 to 3,500 houses per year in the face of such enormous backlog was simply embracing failure. We must not continue with an approach that has failed before. This administration is going to be developing a progressive focus on the approach of site and service. This involves the provision of fully serviced plots of land onto which beneficiaries can be settled. These beneficiaries would bear the responsibility to build their own homes on top of the service sites, allowing us to provide solutions to many more people than have historically benefited from RDP houses. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce that the model of extended operating hours at clinics is now going to be replicated in our community library facilities. In the new financial year, we will be rolling out extended operating hours at 10 regional libraries across our city. They will provide a safe, conducive environment for communities to access these facilities and for learners to study in the right kind of environment. The criteria used to select these libraries has focused on communities where children study without the support of electricity. These libraries will operate in the following areas: 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday, and from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. Areas: Deep Slot, Ivory Park, Randburg, Florida, Protea North, Sandton, Yeoville, Orange Farm, and Ennerdale. I celebrate this achievement and look to this as another key intervention that can be expanded upon in future financial years. In working with our coalition partners and the EFF to identify strategic interventions, we discussed the tragic case of residents of Slovo Park. I must also credit the EFF for bringing this matter to council by way of a motion passed before this council at our last council meeting last week. The residents of Slovo Park have suffered from the deepest neglect, and the environment provides no dignity whatsoever. In November 2015, the residents of Slovo Park took the city to court due to the failure of the city to provide any development in the area. The court agreed with them and has instructed the city to intervene to provide services. Can you imagine, 20 years after democracy, in South Africa, a situation where a community named after Joe Slovo had to take the city to court in order to receive even the most basic of services? I'm pleased to announce that our coalition government will be taking significant steps to rectify the situation. The residents of Slovo Park will have to wait no more once we pass our budget for the 2017-18 financial year, which will be in 3 weeks' time. A dedicated and focused intervention into this community is going to be made this year that will pave the way for electricity, water and sewer connection for the community. The fourth pillar is to build caring, safe and secure communities. We realize that one of the greatest challenges faced by our residents is crime and a lack of safety. The rule of law must prevail in Johannesburg. We envision a caring city as one which is close to where communities members can engage and can be heard. Our work in expanding the GMPD, the K9 unit, impacting the fight against drugs, and the establishment of municipal courts speaks volumes of our focus on the pillar of our government. Ladies and gentlemen, the fight against drugs cannot be exclusively focused on policing. It has to involve prevention that care for the victims of this deadly trade. I'm very pleased to announce that we will be launching a series of pilot projects to expand services offered at our clinics, to include drug rehabilitation services to communities highly impacted by drugs. At 5 clinics in the city, dedicated and trained public health professionals will be appointed to administer rehabilitative medical services to the victims of this horrific trade. They will serve as a referral link from communities to outpatient facilities as the vital conduit for our communities. A dedicated hotline will be set up so that residents of our city can access the services. I'm pleased by this vital step for the city. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also proud to say that we have started to take receipt of 28 new fire engines that will assist our aging fleet. Their arrival is well timed to deal with the winter season fires that leave so many homeless in our informal settlements. The 5th and final pillar is to institute an honest, responsive, and productive government. It is a key to achieving all the above pillars I have mentioned. For Johannesburg to achieve its developmental goals over the next 5 years, communities must be able to develop a high level of trust with government. Residents need to know what their money is being spent on, and they must have a say in how we plan for their future. Where something cannot be done, we must take our residents into their confidence and explain why, while searching for solutions. And when it cannot be done, and when it can be done, we must move heaven and earth to achieve it for our residents. I promised this kind of honesty during the election campaign, and it is this kind of honesty by our residents that our residents will receive. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm committing this administration to the forgotten people of our city. In the past, many people were left behind. These were the forgotten people left behind. They just thought, as residents of the city, that they were entitled to a government that cared for them. They are the people who reported service delivery issues in the black hole of bureaucracy. They are the people who remain no clearer than they did in 1996 about when they may receive a house. They are the people who live in informal settlements without services. They were treated like the city was doing them a favor by receiving their calls or complaints. They saw the city spending money, but were left wondering, what about my road? How about my house? What about my traffic lights? What about my electricity? This administration is going to focus on the forgotten people of our city. We will dedicate this term of office to them, the forgotten people of Johannesburg. And I thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, Executive Mayor. Just to make a few announcements.